Problem number 3 is a little bit more of a conceptual question. What it's asking you is, it says, suppose the power series c sub n x minus 3 to the n converges for x equals 5 and diverges for x equals 0. Then what it wants you to find is, it wants you to find what can you actually tell about c sub n, the summation of c sub n. So when it gives you a problem like this, it's usually a good idea to try to draw it on a line graph. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a little line graph. Now I know what my center should be in this case. So my center for this series should be at 3. And that's because x minus 3 to the n is centered at 3. Again, I don't have any information about c sub n, but I do at least know that this should be centered about 3. It says that it also converges for x equals 5. So if it converges for x equals 5, by the rule of the radius of convergence, it should also converge 2 spaces back this way. So 3 to 4 to 5 is a distance of 2. So back this way should be a distance of 1. So I know that all values in here are going to converge. However, it also says that it diverges for x equals 0. So if this is 0 out here, this is all divergent. And it should also be important to note that it does tell us that it converges for this endpoint, but it doesn't we don't necessarily know if it converges at x equals 1. So we have to be really careful if we make assumptions around that point. But in this case, we're trying to find it for the summation of c sub n. So if I compare these two series, summation c sub n x minus 3 to the n, I need to figure out what x value I can plug in here that will give me this series. Well, by looking at this term, I think I would want to plug in x equals 4. If I plug in x equals 4, I get c sub n 1 to the n. I know c sub n times 1 to the n, or at least I know 1 sub n is just 1 for all n values. So therefore, that should just give me c sub n by itself. So what I'm really trying to do is when it asks me to find if this is convergent or not, I'm looking for if at x equals 4, is this series convergent or not. So by looking back at my line graph, x equals 4 falls right within here. So it falls within this kind of known radius of convergence. So therefore, I can say that at x equals 4, this series is convergent. And that would give me the answer of A.
The Teaching Center, UF's Learning Resource Center.